Welcome back to the African edition of the Hussla Squad podcast, our first international installment of the podcast, and that's because on the 21st of January 2023, I rocked up in the capital of Ethiopia, where my best mate and business partner, Kiro, has been living and working for the last 4 years without him knowing. And we've obviously spent the last 4 days together before filming this one on the 25th of Jan. If you want to watch a video of me surprising him, I'll chuck that at the end of the podcast, as well as a link to the blog, which was very popular. I'll chuck that one in the description. The blog reflects on my journey over the last 2.5 to 3 years, creating the Hussla Squad, but also going through some personal stuff that we don't really share. You can have a suss of that blog as well if you want to learn more about myself personally. Word of warning, this podcast doesn't discuss anything to do with betting, gambling, or anything like that. It is a different podcast. It shares our personalities, it shares our insights, our mindsets, and our perspectives on certain things, including some controversial topics that we want you, and the aim of the podcast is for you to critically think a little bit more, to challenge yourself, to ask yourself why you are making a decision. You'll understand once you listen to the podcast or watch the podcast what I mean. And we encourage everyone to have a listen to it because I can guarantee that you will get something out of it. Now, if you want to see some highlights as well of my journey so far through Africa, the holiday, climbing Kilimanjaro with my girlfriend, going on safari, etc., there is some videos pumped into the podcast while you're watching it on YouTube, and there'll be some stuff thrown in there at the end as well. And as always, if you have any questions about anything to do with the Hussla Squad or the system, you can send us a DM on any of our socials. You can comment on the YouTube, or you can check all relevant links in the description. We hope everyone enjoys this raw chat between two best mates.
Welcome, should I say welcome or not? Just get
Welcome me to Africa.
Welcome best mate JP to Africa after hours of technical difficulties and security guards just screwing us over. We've finally decided to record this in the car with 30 minutes left before he flies out. Welcome JP to Africa. I don't know how you feeling. I know you've been here for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
experienced quite a lot. He decided to come Mount Kilimanjaro with his girlfriend. What was that, 6,000 meters?
Yeah, 5,895.
And then he decided to surprise me in Ethiopia, which caught me off guard completely. But it's been a massive welcome. I think honestly, he's trying to find me. I think that's why, to get me to do some more work. I reckon that's what he's done.
Yeah, we'll speak about that at the end.
But no, honestly, man, how is it? Like, I think it's your first time being in Africa, seeing the culture, obviously seeing just Africans everywhere besides me. It must be different.
Yeah.
How was it? Just give us a sort of breakdown, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people listening to this have never traveled to Africa.
Yeah, so firstly, thanks for welcoming me to Africa. You've obviously lived here for 4 years in Ethiopia. We're currently in the Hyatt Regency car park. Obviously, we had problems upstairs trying to film it inside, but all good. So yeah, I've been to Africa before, but only Morocco and Egypt, which technically isn't Africa in terms of the culture. So the location is, but no. But last 4 weeks, we arrived here on the 28th in Tanzania. We climbed Mount Meru and Kilimanjaro. My bag didn't arrive for 3 days in Kilimanjaro, so I had to go and hire equipment, but we still managed to climb the first one. That was a really tough climb. Altitude problems at the start, headaches, dizziness, falling asleep while walking, shit like that. And then pretty much the first 2 weeks were really slow. Like, we climbed both mountains, lived in tents. I obviously wrote a blog and spoke a lot about the crew that I went with, which was fucking awesome. But then now just being in like Africa the whole time has just opened my eyes up. Had a lot of perspective about life, I would like to think, before this, but even more just cemented the shit that we fucking live in Western culture, which I just think is just, people are just, they've got no idea what goes on outside their four walls of their country. And not to sound like I'm the fucking guy who knows everything and I've got all this perspective, but honestly, like, if you sit in a bubble, like even me, I've traveled before heaps. 2020 was my last time I traveled, but since then, the last 2.5 years, I've just worked flat out, and literally I've been in a bubble, and you forget what goes on outside of our country. And just being here, like, we'll speak about it a bit later, but just, it's completely different. Everyone's in survival mode, pretty much. Everyone's in hustler mode, like, literally hustle. They're just surviving.
Where's where the name from?
Yeah, well, this is, you named Hussla Squad, but just everyone is trying to survive, and they're not trying to pay their mortgage. They're not trying to make enough money to have enough money for their 8 chains of grandchildren and shit like that, generations to come. They're there to live, to survive for today, to eat, to get water. and they'll do whatever they can to do that. And when you live like that, it's just completely different. You just see
mindset.
all different things. Like I watched your sister and brother see your uncle or your auntie, who they haven't seen for. Your auntie hadn't seen your sister for like 17 years.
Yeah.
And I was holding in tears. Like you wouldn't know this, but my girlfriend saw me trying to hold back tears. She was crying because she's seeing them cry and seeing each other, and how much the family means to each other in Africa versus like what we see. And obviously people have good families in Australia and whatever, but it's just different. Like there's not distractions. There's not fucking 400 different things like that you're thinking about. You've got food, water, family, survival, and then you've got like not much else. Like it's just simple, and it completely changes the way humans are. There's a lot more like purity when it comes to like being happy. They don't need $50,000 in savings to be happy. They can have enough money to survive, enough food to survive, and they're happy because they've got their family around them, and that's it. So that's just something I've learned.
I was just saying, I just want to add something. One thing I've learned being here the last 4 years is that like family is sort of the fabric of society. Yeah. And you see that more in these like in developing third world countries compared to the first world, because it's just sort of easily replaceable. Whereas here, it's really is the foundation of society. And that's what makes up the backbone of society. You know, strong families create strong children, and who then go on to advance the economies and society. So you really see that here. I think you're a witness of that.
Yeah, I'd like to think I was aware of it, but I hadn't seen it enough to actually appreciate it enough as I do right now. And obviously being here in the country right now, seeing it every second, I'm going to appreciate it more. I'll go back to Australia and most likely I'll forget about it again and go back to Western culture, which is what I live in. Yeah. But at least now I'm more open, and you definitely change the way you think about things, because you see someone complain about something fucking stupid that like, I don't know, your food might taste shit at a restaurant. And it's like, bro, you're like, yeah, cool. People can argue, well, hang on, well, I've have the privilege to earn money. I live in this country. My ancestors work harder, or they got lucky, whatever. They're in this position now. Yeah. Some people say, oh, who cares? Like, you talk about people, there's people starving in Africa, and people say, oh, who cares? Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's yeah.
It's definitely a humbling experience. I think. Yes. You complain about something, I don't know, maybe like our Instagram's been blocked like the past few days.
We lost both our Instagram accounts on the system and Hussla within 2 days. At the moment, we'll no doubt get them back. I'm going to put that into the world, and we'll get them back.
But it's just like humbling. We're complaining about that the past few days. And then you see, mums carrying their babies, begging for money.
Yeah, or someone with one leg trying
to just survive. Yeah. And like it just sort of humbles you and says there's more to life than. Obviously, it's a huge part of our lives, like having these businesses, but there is more to life, and life is short. You do realize that, I think. Yeah. I think your blog was really, really like, it's just raw and opened my eyes a lot, especially about life in terms of, I know you like past few years we've spoken about this, like the experience of your dad. For me, one of my close friends here passing away, all these experiences just sort of humble you, and it shows you that yes, it's good to have a mission, be after something, but there is more to life. And I think when you're in Africa, it's more humbling when you see these people begging and like just people seeing just survival, like just hustling. You see people hustling basically. Like you laugh about it and joke about like the parking guys trying to help you park and like just asking for a tip.
Yeah, like you'll be fine reversing. Like you've obviously got like a reversing camera, you know how to drive a car, but they'll still be standing there like telling you, yep, keep going back, and then they wait for you to give them the tip. It's like I spoke about it in the blog. It's like the tip, like the first day, I think here it's a bit different to Tanzania. You actually, the money, and we'll talk about the pricing of shit a little bit in a second, but things are way cheaper here, and like you could give someone like $1 and they like thank you, like there's means so much to them to give them $1 and it's just like for us it's cents, nothing. And I spoke about how giving to people and helping others makes me happy, and that's something I already knew, but it's been even more amplified, especially with like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro with all the porters and taking them out for lunch and giving them tips and essentially giving them like a not life-changing amount of money, but enough for them to be like, wow, like I've given them like $200 USD each, which is like a month's rent. For most of them, and a lot of them were just like, wow, like this is fucked. And for them it's life-changing, but for us it's just like it's a decent amount of money, but it's not going to like kill us. Like I can survive. Money can be lost and gained, as I spoke about in the blog, but that makes me happy giving to people, like giving someone walking past with the fucking 3 meter wide sticks today when we went to the massage and spa place, like giving her, it's like $6 US, and she's like saying
Yeah.
all this shit like thank
Just
you,
making
God
it
bless you, all this, and it's like amazing to give that to someone because it means that.
Yeah. But tell us more about the Mount Kilimanjaro experience. Like, why did you decide? I know you sort of wrote about it in the blog, but for those who haven't read
Yeah.
the blog, what made you decide to climb the mountain?
Yeah.
And
We'll repost the blog on like a website style in case people haven't read it. But basically, how that came about, I would say I'm not like a hiker, but I'm pretty like spontaneous and adventurous. Like I'll do random shit here and then. But
you did no training, right? There's like no training.
well, I like to say I'm pretty fit normally. I could play footy and stuff, but I wasn't in my peak fitness at the time. But basically, this guy's gonna die of cough.
COVID.
Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But no, me and my girlfriend Laura, we turned on a documentary called Aftershock, which talks about the Everest earthquake back in I'm gonna guess 2015 or something, and it spoke about like all this shit happening on Everest and how a lot of people died at base camp. And then we kind of watched another one, which the Nims Die documentary, which obviously climbed a heap of 8,000 meter mountains in 2019, I think. And then we're just like, all right, we said we're going to climb Everest eventually, and that's a bit stupid, but who knows if it actually will ever happen. But you need to start at smaller mountains. Mount Kilimanjaro is a beginner's style, I guess, altitude trek, very achievable for the average person. So we kind of booked that, I don't know, 4 weeks before we left, 3 weeks even. We had the idea 6 weeks before. Then we found a really good company called Ascendtanzania. If you ever go to fucking Kilimanjaro, book it with them. They are the most elite bunch of people, and they do things so professionally. Like, it's amazing. So definitely go there.
It's not an affiliate commission there.
No, but I'm going to send a lot of people to there because they looked after us, and I appreciate everything they did for us. Essentially, you just walk up the mountain at the end of the day. They carry everything for you. Like, obviously, you need to be able to carry the tents, and people don't really understand what goes on. Like, when you climb, we're there for 8 nights, right? Or 7 nights, 8 days. You climb for 6 days, you walk down for a day and a half. They carry everything. So anything you bring up the mountain, so you have a duffel bag, you have all your clothes, you have all your hiking gear, but then you've got the tent that you have to eat your food in. So you get 3 meals a day. You've got your chef. He's got a gas bottle. He's got all the plates, dishes. He's got the food that he needs to carry for everyone as well as us. So there's 10 people, 2 guides, 8 porters. One of those porters is a chef. And they've got the tent that you actually eat food in. They've got the tent that they sleep in. They've got the tent that you sleep in.
Yeah.
They've got chairs that you sit on. They've got a table that you sit on when you eat. Anything you think of.
King, mate.
You're eating like, it's not fucking 5-star restaurant food, but like you still get 3 course. Like you'll get soup, you'll get pasta. They load up. First 3-4 days, we struggled to finish all the food, but they obviously encourage you to eat anything you can because you're on the mountain, you're at altitude. You need that for your recovery, for your sleep, everything. It helps you to obviously get up to the summit. But in summary, like, it was an awesome experience. Meru was very mentally challenging for me. That was the first mountain. It's supposed to be a warm-up for Kili. We were supposed to do that to acclimatise. It was only 4,560 metres, but I was fucked from the 3,800 to 4,000 metre mark. Obviously climbing at like 3 a.m. You started about 1, got up to the summit by 6 for sunrise, but between probably 3:30 and 5:30, I was battling. Like, I missed a step once walking, and once the sun comes up, you realise that was actually, like, you fall down there, you're fucked. It's not a cliff, but it's like a shit rock, and you fall down. So I remember I was walking, and I was kind of dozing while I was walking due to the altitude, and they asked me, like, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But I just lied to keep them going. And then I had to stop a few times. As soon as I got some glucose in me, like, I was better, but then I would struggle again. And then I got to this bit where I was like probably 75% of the way up. Yeah. And I'm like to them, is that the summit? And it was like, the guy just looked at me, he's like, nah. And I'm like, yeah, I knew I was still fucking at least an hour and a half off. And we got there in the end, but it was a challenge. Kilimanjaro was easier, just because I think we did it in 8 days as opposed to 3. But yeah, that was awesome. And I guess the best part about that was we were only on the mountain for 2 mountains for 11 days total, with a break of 1 night in between. Obviously sleeping in tents, no Wi-Fi, nothing, which was awesome for me because I fucking spend way too much time on my phone. But just to see those guys, they literally are slaving for you to get up that mountain. Everything they do, like, is for you, and we wouldn't get up there if not for them. Like, they carry everything for you, they do everything, they cook, whatever. But you become so close to those group of individuals in 10 days. Like, I was almost crying saying goodbye to them because they're just elite humans, as I said in the blog, and they're so pure. Like, they want good for you.
Is that something you just say you only see in Africa compared to the West a bit?
Oh, you're definitely not going to see that in fucking Melbourne.
Are we just desensitized, I think, in Australia?
What's it like? What's the question?
Oh, like, I just, like, you say you spend 10 days with them, like,
Yeah.
obviously you grow really, like, I think, I don't know, it's just something I've observed is that, you know, like, no, it's not just in Africa, like, in developing countries, people are more just open, you know, you're
they're more welcoming.
Yeah, more welcoming, just want to talk to you, spark a conversation, whereas, you know, Australia, you could be in Australia, for me, I used to catch the train to University of Melbourne for 2 years straight. I don't remember like any person sparking conversation on the train, for example.
It's funny.
Like, I was here, we were in the jacuzzi, the guy just wants to talk to us.
Yeah, we were speaking about the tour guide today in the spa. But even like off topic, we went to, this is kind of answering your question, we went to Zanzibar after safari and Kilimanjaro, which is like a resort. Like we stayed in a really good resort, probably the best hotel I've stayed in. 5-star, best service, a lot of rich people and really snobby people, and literally for 3 nights we 3 people said hello to us in 3 nights, like non staff. Like the staff were awesome, but non like tourists, they're all like, not racist here, but Russian, Italian, like a lot of Europeans, and you can tell they're like rich people who probably just don't give a fuck, and they're just there to like be greedy in the sense of like looking after themselves, and even like just looking at someone and nodding at them, they just look at you and do nothing, and it's like all right, whatever, like. But that's Western. And then you go to Africa and you do that and you just fucking say jumbo to everyone. Jumbo is like hello and good day in Swahili. And every fucking porter you pass, you just say jumbo, and they'll say it back, they'll smile, and it's just like why is that? Like why is that happening? Like even here, you go in the street, just fucking wink at people or say good thumbs up to people, and like
that's what life's about, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like you go read the MyGov or the Australian government for all these countries, and it's like, consider your travel to Africa, consider your travel to Ethiopia. It's not safe, and it's like you go in the streets here, and it's like, well, what do you mean it's not safe? The people just surviving and hustling and saying hello to you, and they're happy. So like we're kind of we don't get told the correct information, and like when we get here, then you just see the real.
I know this was one of your lessons, so definitely travel, I think.
Like I've said that since I was 20.
Who've read the blog. My question was for you on the blog was, when did you write that? Like, was that during the climb or?
Nah, so that was on safari. So after the climb, we went straight into a 6-day like Serengeti safari through the animals and seeing all and there was long drive. So you're sitting in a Land Cruiser for 8 to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
Obviously you're looking at animals for 70-80% of that time. You're like hanging out the roof and watching lions and shit next to your car. But a lot of that is also driving back to the camps or transiting in between long drives. So I didn't have Wi-Fi, but I had my notes, so I just wrote shit down, and I had an idea to write a blog.
But like, what triggered it? Was it like a triggering point?
No, I just thought that like when I was in that state of like not being on my phone and even on not disconnected from the world, like in terms of Wi-Fi and not seeing notifications pop up all the time, that I thought, 1, I want to reflect, and 2, I want to be able to obviously I want to be able to show people some lessons when I'm in that position, rather than reflecting on it back when I'm 4 weeks later and forgetting everything. So I just sat there writing shit. I was originally going to write a very small one, but it became fucking massive. And I just kept writing shit.
This was 27 or something?
No, 10 lessons.
Yeah, but like this 27.
If you put it in Google Docs, I reckon it would have been probably 10,000 words. It was.
I reckon that's the longest essay he's written since grade 12.
Yeah, I fucking hate English. But I posted it on Instagram, and you can't post in the comments, in the caption, because you can't post in the. So it ended up being 22 comments on top of the thing. But we'll put it in a nice format so people can read it in case they didn't see it. But no, I really liked doing that, and I think I'm going to do more of it. I'm not really a reader myself, but I think you can get. I like to put my information out in speaking and whatever, normally in videos, but there's a lot that can't be put in videos, and sometimes you can put it in words. So I think I'm going to do that, maybe 1 a month, 1 every week. Who knows when I go back to Australia. It takes time to write though and edit. Laura fucking spent probably 3 to 4 hours editing it as well. So shout out to Laura again. But the blog was very good and helped me to learn some shit about myself. And even though you know it, you're putting it on paper.
It's so different.
There's energies being put into the
you've definitely inspired me, because I've got a lot of stuff written down my notes.
You need to share your shit.
Share my stuff. But I reckon that was a good link to that conversation we had the other day about critical thinking, and like we were just talking about like how in Africa people just think for themselves because you don't like honestly. If you ask me what's happening in the news today, I've got no idea. Like
Yeah.
you don't know, nobody in Africa is just sitting down at 6 p.m.
I don't watch
waiting for Channel 7 News or Channel 9 News, or the news not fed through them on Facebook and Twitter. Like people, as you just said, are focused on surviving. Like it's a survival mindset here. But it also works two ways. Yes, it's a survival mindset, but then people are, can think for themselves. And I like what you said. It's sort of a culture here, and it's sort of good. But like I like maybe want to expand a bit on that. What you said,
so
observed.
I would like to think that I am someone who is very logical in the way I think. I make my own decisions based off shit that other people might just form an opinion based off what they're told or what they saw or what they heard.
Yeah.
That is problematic if you don't allow yourself to think about, like I spoke about this on the last podcast. I got a coach from my gym that I train at to coach me because it helps me with my accountability before I left to go overseas.
Yeah.
And I'll repeat the story, but basically he has a 19-year-old daughter, and he basically said to me, which I agree with, he said, if my daughter goes out and gets drunk or goes and tries to fucking, I don't know, do some drugs, right? He doesn't care. Obviously, it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if she does it, if she actually has a reason why she's doing it. So if she says, why did you do that? Oh, I wanted to try this so that I did it. That's fine. But if she said, oh, I just did it because that person said to do it, or like he fucking hates it. He'll tell her off, like whatever. And this is the same thing. I don't want to sound controversial here, but the last 2.5 years in Australia, there's been a lot of shit that's going on, a lot of stuff that people are going to probably get triggered by hearing this. But basically, people were told to do certain things and they went and did them because everyone was doing them and essentially acted like sheep. And they did things that they didn't want to do because they felt like they had to.
Yeah.
Here, you go and ask someone, for example, it'll be fucking walk through the street, you find someone who's double jabbed from COVID, good luck. And how that even happens in the world, like people listening to that in Australia will be like, what the fuck, how is that? Like, that's, oh, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, whatever. But myself, I've always thought, and I'll challenge things and I'll make sure that I'm making the right decision based on the way I think. Why am I doing that?
It's
Why?
critical thinking,
Why? Yeah, critically, like logic. So if someone's telling me to do that, and instead of going, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to, and that's against my culture, or I don't believe that, I don't need that, or I believe that I can use my own immune system to whatever. These people don't believe that they're going to get sick from a disease, whatever. They just rely on their own
natural medicine.
Whatever they've been doing for the last fucking centuries, and their families believe that that's better. They're not going to go and get jabbed, because as well, it's very hard to convince these people because they don't have a TV, they don't have radio, they don't have Facebook, they don't have this constant hypnotic fucking repetitive shit that's thrown at them. That, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's funny how if you take away that, you maintain. These guys aren't even educated, they don't go to uni, but they have the ability to say, oh, hang on a second, that doesn't seem right, I'm not going to do that. As opposed to being like, oh, I can't go to the bar and I might lose my job, so I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
That's like saying, oh, I'm just going to go and get drunk or have drugs because my friends did it. As opposed to saying, I didn't do that because I didn't think that might be safe, or there might be a side effect I don't want to put myself into. So, as I said, don't have an opinion on what's better or worse or whatever. But I do like the fact that the people here, despite not being, I don't know, generally we're uneducated over here compared to Western culture. Not a lot of people going to university and getting high level education. They're able to still use their brains to make really simple decisions.
Rational decisions.
That in the Western culture, unfortunately, we can be really educated, but we still are kind of convinced without us knowing it due to this barrage of shit that gets told to us. And this could be anything. It doesn't have to be just this topic. It can be anything that kind of, like, I don't watch the news. You don't watch the news. No one here watches the news unless you're kind of really into it. And that then changes the way people think. And what as well, culture, funnily, like they try and probably push things here. Like you've lived here for 4 years. Yeah. Did they try and push these kind of agendas here?
It's not pushed at all, basically.
They can't because they don't have the ability to kind of have the...
Mass hypnotic sort of.
What's the word? Like the audience, not the audience, the the thing to promote it out. Like they don't have TV because no one's watching it. They don't have radio because no one's listening to it. They don't have whatever. So this topic may have been, I don't know, probably not really explained very well, but moral of the story here is people who have simple minds, who aren't kind of manipulated, I guess, without external shit, have the ability to make really simple decisions that in culture in the Western world, unfortunately, it's lost even. And I wrote this in the blog. People might not understand what I meant, but now I've understood now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. You living here for the last 4 years, you've seen it. I've known the theory of it, hearing it from you, but now I've seen it and spoken to so many people, and they just laugh at it.
Yeah.
You speak to someone, oh, you got the COVID jab. Like, bro, what do you mean? Like, I'm fine, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like really, really funny conversations.
Honestly, you actually explained it well. I think just to break it down, it goes back to what I've realized when I'm in Australia. My spare time is spent on my phone or just on the laptop, just scrolling through social media, where I don't have time to critically think for myself, right? Whereas when I'm here, because I'm embedded into the culture, where you value family, you value religion, you value all these things. So your spare time is not. I don't spend as much time like on Instagram or my social media channels, right? So now I have more time to critically think.
Yeah.
And then I'm spending time with my family. I'm seeing like culture. I'm understanding history and like tradition, which then helps me to critically think, because it's what you said, like centuries back. Like it's survival mindset, but like if my grandparents are still alive to today, and whatever they're relying on, whenever you get sick here, for example, they say order a special tea. It's basically tea with like ginger.
Yeah, I just had one.
It's like lemon, mint, whatever. Honestly, it feels good like when you drink it, and they say, okay, drink that, and your cold will go away, for example.
Yeah, you get Panadol. But
this is like this is Panadol. Like it's just because somebody's told you to do that. You actually haven't thought for yourself. Okay, what is the Panadol going to do to me? So it goes back to that story you're talking about, the guy from the gym trainer and his 19-year-old daughter. What's the reason why you're doing that? So that's something I've learned, in the last 4 years. Just think for yourself and really deep critically think.
We've done it. Even going to your family yesterday, they live very simple, like their house, probably how many people live in it, like 10?
Yeah, probably 10.
10 people, very small house, but bro, we got in there, eat popcorn, got a coffee, got some black seed oil put in there, whatever. And like it's just organic and pure, and even the food as well. That's probably something I haven't mentioned. That everything's not fucking smashed with chemicals and
all organic.
It's just good. Like you always say, like you actually feel fuller here when you eat stuff and whatever. I always still eat a lot, but like everything's kind of. I don't even know what the word. Like it's very hard to explain.
Organic.
It's organic, but in a way, like not sounding like a vegan sort of, like someone who's obsessed with not having everything organic. The point is like. Not just the food, like the culture's organic, it's pure, there's history, there's meaning. Whereas you go Western culture, like we don't have fucking culture. Like what's our culture in Australia? Like obviously we've got, but like in terms of, it's not a priority. Like it's a small part. Like you'll get European families that have strong culture, and obviously I come from a European background. Like I've got the culture there, which is seen very rarely. You go to visit your grandma, still very strong, but then like in the streets and stuff, there's nothing. It's like, it's just,
the biggest thing for me in the last 4 years is learning about my culture. Honestly, like. I don't know, maybe you've probably seen it. Like,
I've seen you like with your family.
Transform and change,
yeah, like you'll see like some guy that's not even related to you or a family friend, and you just like hug him. You like it's like there's genuine like love and care and meaning to these people. And even when your mum, like when I surprised you, I got the video.
Yeah.
Like the way she like embraced me and like kissed me and hugged me, like she's like I'm her son. It's like really nice to feel that.
Yeah.
And that comes from culture. It comes from like you go to Australia, no one's gonna do that.
No, that's the thing I've definitely learned. Like it's not just Ethiopian culture. I think it's just like African culture, like even European culture. Like
European similar as well.
Yeah, like I think we lose that. I think being in the West because of like especially the last 5-10 years with all the social media stuff.
Yeah,
and it's also why like gambling sort of increased a lot, right? Because people become more isolated. That's what I think. People become more isolated, and they use the gambling as a means to sort of just try and make more money, or because they don't know who they are, they don't understand this sort of family history, like where your families come from. Like it's, I see the difference just even between me and my brother, for example. Yeah, and I don't blame. Like I feel like I was like that maybe 5-10 years ago. But living here now, I really understand. Like okay, these are my family, my extended family. Like I see them struggling. Like they're living a survival mindset. So you start valuing other things. Like yes, money is a means, but I like what you wrote in your blog. Like money is a means, obviously, to live, but there's more to that than that. Family is important. Like culture is important. I really love like that you guys came to the museum yesterday, learned about the culture of Ethiopia. Like you see like where the country came from, for example. You see all the people. Like it's not you're not here by accident. You see where who you are and your roots. And I really challenge every person listening to this. Like really like try to understand your roots, see where you come from, and I think that really change your perspective on life and sort of how you live in a way.
Yeah. And also, if you're listening to this and you think we're idiots, if you're going to take one thing out of this, fucking ask yourself why you're doing something every time you do it. That's all I'll say.
Definitely.
We'll change topic now. I want to talk about, my flight's in exactly 2 hours and 50 minutes, so we need to start going to the airport.
Should we start driving?
Do you want to start?
The driving part.
The video game driving is literally what it looks like here. Like, Kiro looks like he's on Grand Theft Auto when I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Like, it's like a video game. Like, there's no lanes.
Grand Theft Auto.
It's whoever can get first in. Like, you got to beep. You got to put yourself in. You got to be arrogant, sort of, and you got to be like aggressive the way you drive to actually get anywhere here. I drove in Zanzibar, which was very much like low level. But this is like, I've seen it in like Egypt and stuff, but I've never seen someone I know drive in these places. So seeing you definitely weren't driving like this back in Melbourne, and you've definitely improved your driving skills for sure.
Lewis Hamilton.
But just seeing how close cars can get to other cars without hitting them is fucked. Like in Australia, you'll get like within 1.5 meters of a car and you'll think you're close. There's been multiple times where I'm like, he's going to hit it for sure, and just straight through. And I'm like, how the fuck's that happening? So yeah, that's been interesting. I reckon finish it before we leave, because it'll probably be shit if we start driving. So I'll go with this one.
Well, you'll have to add some of the videos though. At some of the time. Show them the driving.
No, I'll definitely make a video about like some of the shit we've seen here. In terms of business motive, I want to touch on this because this was a video I was going to make while I've been overseas, but I just haven't got around to doing it. Plus, I don't really want to be doing work stuff.
Yeah.
And the morals of business. And we're talking about it before in regards to how we've been, like, Hussla, obviously our income. Yeah. That's what we've done. Obviously, it's been my primary income massively for the last 2.5 years. Like, before that, I was match betting. But people, we obviously often get criticized for, oh, you're just a scammer, whatever, you're making money, you don't care about people, whatever. The reality is, like, we obviously know that's not true. Our business is based on care of the customer first. That then yields a successful product, which the outcome of that is money, right? We're getting income from helping people and providing value to people. That only happens because we're doing it properly, because we care. If we were doing it another way, we could probably make more money. E.g., something that came up in the last week that I want to talk about is bookie affiliation, which we've spoken about. Tom, Steve, and I don't know if I've spoken about it with you. Yeah. But we actually had, I wouldn't say a close call, but we had discussions to go down the bookie affiliation pathway right at the start of our business. We had contact with one of the biggest Entain group, Ladbrokes Neds affiliates, who is now. And we were going down, like, we obviously didn't do anything, but we were considering, okay, this is how much money you can make from this. And to put it clearly, like, we could literally be making, I'd say, $1 million to $2 million a year off affiliation. And where I'm going with this, I'm not trying to say that we're heroes, but seeing Africa has now made me even more want to make money in a way in which I only want to make money from helping people. Yeah. So selling a course to someone who makes some money is helping someone. Making money for someone and they're paying us is helping someone. Yeah. Making money from selling drugs is harming someone. Making money from, I don't know, what's another one? What did I say before? That's like 4 before.
Oh, the pharmaceuticals. Like
something more relatable is like, from gambling. So making money, being a bookie, casino. Like we could make a casino. We could make being a bookie affiliate. Bookie affiliation, you get a percentage of people's losses and you get a fee when they sign up, right? Yeah. Your only way you're making money is if that fucking gambler loses, right? If they don't lose, you don't make money. So you are making money from someone else's misfortunes. Yeah. That is not a good way to make money. We could make 10 times the amount of money we're making now and do that. I don't feel comfortable. I wouldn't sleep at night. It's irrelevant. Now, being here in Africa, that even cemented more because I see people struggling. I see people surviving.
Hustling, yeah.
And now I feel even better about myself because I've actually helped people, and the same rewards that I'm getting from buying my porter's lunch or giving them a massive tip or giving a random person a tip, that makes me happy, that gives me a reward, is the same when someone messages me who's 19 years old and said, hey bro, thanks, you made me 50k this year, or I've changed my life, whatever. Same thing is applied. So the morals of our business, and obviously we're going to America, we're going to be going to Canada with the Hussla Squad, and we're going to be doing other stuff as well together.
Worldwide.
I think I just wanted to touch on that, about the moralities of business and the motives people have, and why it eventually will then result in people being successful or not, based on their motives. And if you're someone who's just chasing revenue, which we've seen other people in the industry try and do that through getting quick fix courses or trying to create methods, copying other people and whatever, But they don't last. And they last 6 months and then disappear.
I was gonna say, I should have rounded up with that. Is that one of my mentors once told me? He said the secret to living is giving, and like obviously teaching people is you're giving your knowledge away, right? Obviously you're charging a price for it, but you're giving your knowledge away.
Yeah.
And when you do that, there is so much joy for you personally, and it's just a sort of a butterfly effect. It just passes on, right?
Yeah.
And that is.
Well, hang on. What would you say then? So if people are going to say, oh, well, hang on. If you're that obsessed with helping people, and do it for free.
Well, at the end of the day, you need to live, right? Like, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously people don't understand, like, you've done 10 years, like, you know, you've learned management for 10 years.
Yeah.
And now people want that information for, like, in one go. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like,
I value my own content still. I'm not going to like.
It's like a tennis player, right? Djokovic didn't freaking start just winning Grand Slams today.
Correct. Yeah.
He trained since he was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
For 17 probably years to win his first Grand Slam.
Yeah.
People don't see that time, right? So people haven't seen that time where you studied and learned all this knowledge. And
yeah,
now
make fucking thousands of mistakes.
And not only just that, now you're also making the videos. You're investing. I'll say because I'm on the back end, how much time you pour into making those videos. You know, making sure they're perfect because you're a perfectionist. Like making sure they're perfect, and then putting that content out there, and also then responding to all these DMs and like having these free calls. People don't see that. All they just see is that, oh, this guy, he made a sale.
Yeah,
like,
it's funny when people say like, oh yeah, you just sell a course, you just make a few videos. It's like, bro, each video probably takes like
it's
10 hours to make.
Exactly.
And it goes for 20 minutes. It's like, bro, there's like 50 of those videos. Like, how add up that?
Exactly. It's
like, and they have to edit it, pass through to the editor makes a mistake, you got to do it again. You got to watch it. You got to make sure that someone sends you a message. Hey, this is wrong. You got to change it. The industry changes. You got to change the videos again. We're going to be redoing the course at the moment. We've just redone the free course. We're going to add some more shit when I'm back home. So it's obviously we put work in. I'm not going to say that I want to be recognized for that, but that's the reason we have a price on the product, because it's valuable, and we don't want to devalue the product to zero so that every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks it's just rubbish. And we want to get people who appreciate the content and want to invest, because when you invest your own money into something, you actually will then do it more. And if I said, hey mate, here's a free platinum, then the person might never do it. But if you say, hey, pay now and I'll give you a refund in 6 months, they'll do it, and then they'll do more, so the outcome will be better. So we'll finish off. You obviously got to take me to the airport, but what's happening next? I know I haven't actually had a chance to fucking have a chat to you. I want to try and get you back in Australia like full time.
He's gone from 2 months to make full time.
I'm not sure if that's possible. I'm going to plant the seed in your brain. Like, obviously, we need you for America. Yeah. We haven't had the chance to actually pull the trigger on the USA properly, and Canada now. The boys, hopefully Tom has organised the office by the time this is posted, and we actually officially have the office where we have got it. Like, it's a fucking elite setup. You obviously haven't seen it yet, but it's in being built. Once that's built, we want you there. You're coming in April for Easter. I want you there for at least 4 months. But you reckon you're going to be there for 2?
We'll negotiate.
Yeah, so if you're there, we want that. That's going to be happening. But we want you back on board. Like, obviously you're on board. You're here though. And it's different. Obviously you got all this other shit going on. And you're still helping out on the back end, doing heaps of shit with Discord and making Excel spreadsheets and everything. But yeah, I just wanted to officially put on the record so everyone sees it. If you see Kiro and you message him, tell him to get back to Australia so we can see his face more in videos and make shit. Get him back on board officially massively more. Because that's going to help us grow. But in terms of, I just want to talk about 2023, just for everyone out there. Obviously, we spoke about this in the blog, but obviously it's gone. And people might not be able to see it at the moment. But yeah, 2023 is going to be massive. We've got a lot of shit planned for our current members, more so than non-members. But we've got Kiro's uncle telling us that we need to hurry the fuck up outside the door as the windows are fogging up because it's hot in here. But no, 2023, we've got a lot of shit planned. So if you are someone watching this and you want to get involved, obviously go and suss the free course again. Go watch it. Go ask us a question. Book a call. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you officially as well for being a chauffeur, for being an organizer. You've driven us around for 3 days. We've been here. I actually missed my flight getting here because I didn't get a visa. I thought you could get it on arrival, so I had to be a day later. And then I rocked up, and I'll post a video at the end of this of me surprising you. Yeah. You reckon you had an idea, but you clueless, I reckon.
No, I had an idea because my sister was like, JP's messaging me. I'm like, I know this guy's too well. He's full of surprises always. So
there was no way I'm going.
So I had an idea, but what caught me off guard because I was so busy with all this wedding stuff.
Yeah. You and your family.
I was just like all over the place. Wasn't present. So that's what caught me off guard, I reckon. So it was still a surprise. It was really good having you here, man. Like showing you the motherland. Even though I wasn't born here, but like it's I've been here for the last 4 years. It's where I'm from. It was really like I loved showing JP and his girlfriend around. Laura's been a great addition as well.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed it, man.
She's hiding behind you,
She's
but
hiding behind me.
she won't show her face.
We hope to welcome you back in Africa soon.
Yeah, I'll be back.
I reckon Hussla Squad will take off here in 10 years' time, but
Yeah, we're still a while off that.
Slow and steady wins the race. But no, it's been great. It's been great being reunited. We'll be back in Easter. If you're not a hustler yet, you'll be one by the end of 2023 if you listen to this, I reckon.
Yeah, put that out there for sure.
For sure.
But no, thanks very much. We've got to get to the airport, but yeah, if you have learned something from this, fantastic. If you haven't, well, bad luck. But keep watching some of our stuff, and hopefully we can keep helping you out, and hopefully we can change your mindset and teach you some shit. We're not experts, we're still learning so much, but we love to share what we know already and what we think we know, and hopefully get some value out of it. So Hussla out from Africa, we're on the move.
Out.
We're on to Dubai next, so
Skydive Dubai.
Yeah, well, that will be on there. Maybe
If you
at the end
pay
as
me,
well.
I wouldn't do that.
Nah, you're a coward. You said you've been wanting to do it for the last 8 years, bro.
Too scared.
Alright.
I don't think Laura will do it anyways, too.
Nah, she's like locked in, mate. It's cost too expensive. It's $1,000 each, mate. She has to pay. She has to do it. Alright, later. See you later.
Hussla out.
Yeah, before you die of COVID.
Full dying in here, man. Turn the car on, man.
It's fucking hot, isn't it?
Number 4.
Awesome.
Yeah?
First.
How was the view?
Yeah, same as last time.
Pretty special?
Yeah.